Those who are involved in our deacon formation process are coming to discover that this deacon formation process is probably a lot more involved than they had realized. We're not only meeting weekly for over a year. You wouldn't believe the amount of reading that they're having to do. And some of the reading, let me tell you, that print is so small that I even need to put on my glasses to keep up with all the reading. But it's been a great variety of books that they're reading and information, because you think about it, in a little over a year, I'm trying to pass on to them everything from a church that's over 2,000 years old. That's a lot of information. But it isn't just this or that information. An important part of the deacon formation process is also their practicum experiences. So as you can see, besides all those books and materials on the tables, you can see, yes, there we are practicing a baptism. And they baptized that beautiful little doll named Mariposa. And so Mariposa was baptized into the faith. And then as you can see, yes, Kathy witnessed the wedding of Madeline and Craig. Aren't they an adorable couple? And that was pretty miraculous, because if you look at the other picture, there was Madeline laying in the bed getting her last rites. And yet she was able to recover from her last rites in time for the wedding. And so we've been having a lot of fun in this experience. The best thing is right now, they're all working on preparing their first homily that they will need to give to the class. And I love it. We didn't know this was so much work. We didn't know this was so hard. We don't know how you get up there every week and preach like that. We just didn't know everything that was involved in a homily. I'm like, what do you mean just once a week? I do 2 homilies during the week too. So we're talking like 3 homilies a week. And like, well, we just didn't know that everything was so involved in just even the PowerPoint. And it's just like, yeah, have fun. As we're going through this process, though, I made a major change to the syllabus. You see, I was coming to recognize that there was no way I was going to be able to pass on over 2,000 years of information to them, no matter how many books we read. So how was I going to impart to them everything they needed to minister as deacons? And I came to realize the best thing that I could do was to help them grow in their relationship with Jesus. And so I changed their reading list, and I added this wonderful book, Learning to Pray, A Guide for Everyone, by Father James Martin, the Jesuit. Learning to Pray, A Guide for Everyone. Because if they grow in their life of prayer, they will grow stronger in their relationship with the Lord. And in that relationship, they will be guided to knowing what they need to know when they need to know it in their ministry. Because Jesus made it very clear in the gospel of, I skipped the gospel. Let's get to Soren Kierkegaard first. Because what Soren Kierkegaard said is, truth is not a matter of knowing this or that. So me giving them all the information in the world, they're never going to come to a full realization of the truth, thus with this or that, but of being in the truth. To properly know the truth is to be in the truth. It is to have the truth for one's life. That is, I only know the truth when it becomes a life in me. Christ is the way as well as the truth. Christ is the way as well as the truth. So for them to come to everything they need to know to become and serve as deacons, they need to come to be in touch with that truth that is within them. And the best way to do that is to grow in their prayer life. For Jesus said in the Gospel of John, chapter 16, verse 13, Jesus says, when he comes, the Spirit of truth, he will guide you to all truth. When he comes, the Spirit of truth, he will guide you to all truth. So it isn't just learning this or that. It's learning a relationship with Jesus, who is the truth, and coming to recognize the presence of the Lord in them through the power of the Holy Spirit that is dwelling in their hearts, according to the St. Paul in the letter to Romans chapter 5, verse 5. The love of God has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit that has been given to us. And what they're going to discover when reading this book, Learning to Pray, a Guide for Everyone, is from the very beginning, they come to realize that they're already praying. That prayer is just an awareness. That prayer is just getting in touch with our hearts, where the Holy Spirit is present. We are called to drink from that great reservoir of love that has been poured into our hearts. So that will help them as deacons to minister with love, to let that love from the Spirit in their hearts to flow into all that they will minister to. So I think this is something for all of us that we can gain from. How do we live in this world? How do we live in this world striving to live by the truth? And the best way is to live as a prayerful people, to recognize the Holy Spirit has been given to us so we have access to the truth, to recognize that that Spirit is dwelling in our hearts, so we just need to get in touch with our hearts, and the best way to do that is through prayer. So let us grow in our relationship with Jesus, and then while we're praying, let's say a prayer too for those people who are in formation to our deacon process, because they're going to be ordained deacons if they make it through this process in early November. That's how many more classes they will be participating in early November. So kind of keep them in your prayers. Especially, you better keep them in their prayers now, because I can't wait to hear their first homilies.